I started out as a keyboard player in a band, and I had aspirations to become a songwriter halfway through that journey, and I became that and a record producer. And it was through that experience that I found how tough it is out there to really connect your music to anything. I mean, this was 2000 and, well, it was 1995, 1996. Yeah. I'm older than I realised. And back then it was the only way you got your music discovered was you had to have some sort of connection with a label or a publisher. And through that experience, I spent many years building studio equipment, learning how to produce, saying yes to anything that would come through my door in terms of record production. And so I became very, very acutely familiar with the process of making music, and I worked with as many co-writers as I possibly could to really connect with that art.
Right.
And it was, as my career progressed, I had some lucky breaks, and I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, and worked with a number of artists down there. That one particular in 1999, you won't have heard of her, but she's a fantastic singer called Vanessa Amorosi, and she had a huge hit. A huge big album that went #1. It sold, I think, 2.5 million albums worldwide.
Wow.
For an Australian artist, that's
considerable.
And I had 4 songs on that album, and that kind of unleashed a career in songwriting and production. And so that was like 2000, 1999, 2000. So it was from there that I very much spent every day producing, writing, had got to travel the world and became very familiar with that process. And it was much later, maybe 2007, 2008, I started a small record company, and with my wife Victoria, who's also a songwriter and a producer. And we started developing artists, and this is when there was much more responsibility on me to be able to figure out, like, how do we get sync? And we're in Melbourne, and Hollywood seems so far away, and there is a sync scene in Australia, but it's small. There's really only 2 cities that have sync decisions made in them, and it's mainly a small film industry and a very a reasonably sized advertising business.
Right.
So it was through that experience that it became clear to me that this is really tough, and there must be a better solution. There must be a way to connect creators and make an easier way for discovery as well. And I didn't anticipate back then just how hard that would be and what was involved in that, but quite innocently went, let's go to America and build a platform. Move the family, and it was I had
all of which he did.
So from a small, I guess a tiny idea at the time, but felt like a responsibility. But we I'm probably underselling it, but it was a substantial move for us, and we thought we have to be in Los Angeles. It's the center of really the entertainment industry in the world, and certainly where there is more music creators, and certainly where most of the decisions are made in terms of film and TV and
right.
So I'm making this very long, aren't I? I'm sorry.
No, but it's good. It's good to tell the genesis of this. This is good.
So in 2013 we moved here. We started building with an outsourced company building a prototype.
Right.
But fast forward 3 years later, we launched the platform in 2016. So it took a long time just to get it officially launched. And so we built the platform to be a way that music creators can manage their content by uploading their content. They can create playlists, and we're very much on a path to build out more of a journey there. But the real genesis was to just simply allow anyone who owns music to upload music and have it licensed to anyone who licenses music.
And that's a very simple beginning vision. Now, in terms of the evolution, because, what happens with technology a lot of the time is like you build it and they will come. Well, some people will come, and some people you have to sort of convince that maybe sort of they should come and check it out, maybe look through the window, maybe then they'll come into the store, like that sort of thing. So Going from point A to today, how has that evolved?
We don't have 2 hours, right?
No,
Okay.
we've got to be condensed. Yeah.
So we very quickly realised that when we launched the platform that we had to move very quickly, and building a marketplace has its own challenges because you have to have supply in order to meet demand, and you need demand to nourish supply. And when it comes to the music business, there is a significantly more demand than there is supply.
Right.
Sorry, supply.
Supply than demand. Yeah.
So as part of that process, we realized that we needed a lot more resources for licensing people, salespeople, curators, because you have this kind of pipe of tracks coming in that need to be listened to and understood. And we've created metadata for hundreds of thousands of tracks, and just that alone needs almost a small army of people just to listen to the music and create metadata so that music can be searched.
Of course.
And when these are not the things you think about when you create an idea. Well, maybe now you would, because there's a little more knowledge around this space. But
that's true. Yeah.
But I guess along the way, it really is the realization of what sort of resources are needed to build something like this at scale, and for it to be successful. And as part of that journey, we thought, well, data is going to play such an important role in this. And so I think it was last year, 2018, we launched a distribution service.
Mm-hmm.
And the thinking around that was less about being another distributor in the ecosystem, but using that data that comes in from distributed music to guide the music discovery part of what we do. So, for example, if we know music is being consumed by a particular audience, which is the sort of data you get back from Spotify, like geographic, demographic data, then we may be able to match that more intuitively, or from a machine learning point of view, with a potential buyer.